Hello, good day to each and every one of you. My name is Godday Ocheme, and I'll be your instructor for today. Today I want us to discuss about a very aspect of cyber security, and that is forensic analysis. Forensic analysis is important in every area of field, and in each area you will see forensic being applied, most especially when truth is about to be buried, and that is where forensic comes into play. And so what is actually forensic, digital forensic? And when we are talking about forensic here, we're talking mainly on digital forensic, because each area, each field has its own forensic. We have forensic in medical, we have forensic in health, we have forensic in agriculture, forensic in tech, and also different kind of forensic. And so digital forensic is actually an aspect of cyber security. So digital forensic is actually an aspect of cyber security that deal with how to identify, preserve, extract, and analyze digital evidence. So this specialization is to actually identify and to preserve the evidence, and extract and analyze and give an information about what is happening within a digital devices or digital platforms. So it's used for investigating and uncovering digital data related to cyber crimes, frauds, digital breaches, insider threats, and various forms of misconduct involving technology. And so that is what digital forensic is all about. And I don't want to talk much about the history of and the evolution of digital forensic, because that is not what we are right now, but it continues to evolve from 1984 down to today, and there are various disciplines with advanced tools and automation. Both law enforcement and private sector actually use it. So let us look at branches of digital forensic. And so digital forensic encompasses various specializations, or it cut across different fields of computing. And first one is computer forensic, which involve the recovery and analysis of data from desktop, laptop, or storage media, and include file system analysis, recovery of deleted file, and analyzing system log. That's what is referred to as computer forensic. We also have network forensic. Network forensic we are dealing with monitoring and analyzing of network traffic, and is useful in investigating intrusion, data exfiltrations, and mostly denial of service attack. We also have mobile device forensic, which focuses on extracting data from mobile phone, tablet, or GPS devices, involving SMS, call logs, location data, app histories, and also cloud backup informations. Also we also have a cloud forensic, which has to do with everything that has to do with cloud technologies, investigating crime involving cloud services and platforms like maybe Google Drive, AWS, Azure, and so on, because majority of infrastructure is actually going to the cloud, and here so crime is also increasing, especially in the cloud space. So that is why cloud forensic is of utmost importance. We also have IoT, which is Internet of Things forensic, which investigates smart devices such as smart TV, home automation systems, and wearables. And this often include network and embedded forensic for analysis. We can also do email and data-based forensic, which analyze email for sign of phishing, spoofing, or fraud, or any kind of social engineering attack, and even examine database for unauthorized access or tampering of data, or data breaches, or data leakage. So these are some of the branches of digital forensic that you will see today, And as we continue to talk more about each area as we move on. So after we are through with the general information about forensic analysis, we'll be looking at different areas. So there are some roles and responsibilities of digital forensic investigator. And so as a digital forensic investigator, one of your goal or one of your role is to identify digital evidence in potential crime scene or incident. For example, if someone call you, oh, something happened in this social area, your first goal is to actually identify digital evidence. Is there any digital evidence here? For example, someone coming and I see phone on the table. So phone, mobile phone is one of the digital evidence, and it's one of the digital evidence. Flash drive is also one of the digital evidence, or any digital devices we can lay our hands on are actually digital evidence that we can look at. And so it's also our duty to preserve the integrity of the evidence, and that's why we need to follow chain of custody. As we continue, we'll be able to understand much what chain of custody is all about. And it is also our duty to conduct forensic imaging and analysis of devices. Well, forensic imaging simply means maybe having a copy or cloning that particular devices so that you can use it for future analysis or for further analysis. And so it is also our duty to recover deleted file, hidden file, or encrypted data where necessary, and especially if it is a crime scene where an attacker actually deleted the evidence from the system or from the database, or erase the system completely. It is also your duty to bring it back. So that is the function or your role as a digital forensic investigator or analyst. So your own function also is to analyze log, mails, and browse histories, document what you have seen, and then your findings, and then document it in order to if there's any need to provide testimonies, especially when you are going for court cases. It is your duty as well, and it is also good that we also stay up to date about the latest cyber threats and forensic tools that is actually facing us today. So there are some to conduct a digital forensic investigation. There are some processes that we need to follow. We cannot jump into it without following this process, and if you jump without following this process, you find yourself missing out of the track at the end. And the first process is identification. As I said before, when you go to a crime scene, or we have been called upon to carry out an investigation, a forensic investigation, your first task is to actually identify any potential devices or any potential evidence that can be used, such as hard drive or flash drive as like this, or server, or any mail, or anything. Digital devices can be used. So you can also determine which devices or data need to be acquired based on the scope of the case. And so your second the second process after identification is preservation. You must secure and isolate the digital environment to be sure that there's no external factors or external person that will handle such evidence in order to alter the authenticity or to tamper with the integrity of that evidence, and to prevent tampering with the right blockers or the imaging tools. So to maintain chain of custody to the document and access the evidence when needed. So another thing after preservation is analysis. You can use any analytical tools, any forensic analytical tools to extract, recover, or examine the data, or search for evidence of malicious activities, and then policy violations or data leak. So to correlation of data from multiple source, logs, and also timestamp and communications. All these things are actually part of your duties or the processes that you should follow. Then after analysis, you documentation comes. You document your findings, document every action taken, including the tools that you use to carry out your findings, and then you create the timelines, is the charts, and your evidence map. You also maintain accuracy through your, especially when you are doing court presentation. So the last one is presentation. You deliver your finding in a clear and understandable format to the law enforcement agent, especially when it requires crime, and also need you to and also need you to give a report. So that is the processes that you follow, starting from identification to preservation to analysis to documentation and presentation. So these are the 5 stages or the 5 processes you should follow as a digital forensic investigator when carrying out digital forensic analysis or investigation. And so any misstep in these processes can lead to improper handlings or undocumented changes, can render your evidence inadmissible, especially in the court. So there are some legal or ethical considerations that we need to look at in digital forensic. So some of the legal or ethical considerations we need to look at in digital forensic is very important, and we must know what are involved. So it's not just, digital forensic is not just all about technical know-how. It's not just about your technical expertise. It's also requires you having a good understanding of the laws that governs or the environment you are carrying out your analysis. And so it involves navigating complex legal or ethical framework. And so you should know that your action must be lawful, ethical, and admissible, especially when it comes to court cases. So there are some law governing digital forensic, both local and international body, that can help us to be able to guide our processes or to regulate our processes as well. And so digital forensic investigation operate within the bound of national and international law frameworks, and this law can actually determine how we handle our evidence, how we collect the evidence, store the evidence, use the evidence, how we present the evidence. And if you fail to comply to any of it, it means that our evidence will be rendered inadmissible. And that is why you should, as a digital forensic investigator, you should know the laws that governs your region, especially when it comes to digital cyber crime or cyber attack. You should know the law that governs you in that particular region, in that particular country, or in that particular place. So some of the law that we have, especially in Nigeria, one is the Cybercrime Prohibition and Prevention Act of 2025. So the primary goal is the legal framework that governs cyber offenses and investigative procedure that tell you, okay, a crime has occurred, how you should go about collecting your information, how you should go about collecting your evidence, and also what are the processes that you should follow, and what you should do and what you should not do. It also has to do with, also another act is Evidence Act, which recognizes electronic record as admissible evidence if properly authenticated. So Evidence Act of 2011. Also have Nigerian Data Protection Regulation, which protect the right of individual regarding their personal data, especially when requested during the process of digital forensic. And so we also have a constitutional right, and the constitution of the country that governs every other areas, and which include the right to privacy and protection from unlawful search and seizures. So you should be aware of all these law, especially local laws. If you are in Nigeria, if you are not in Nigeria, if you are in other country, you should also be aware of it in your own country. So each country have their own cyber law, their local law that govern the cyberspace. So you should be aware of that local law. So we also have some international law that also governs us international, like the USA Computer Fraud and Abuse Act, Electronic Communication Privacy Act, and also the Fourth Amendment, or the European that have to do with general data protection regulations, and also the Budapest Convention on Cybercrime. All those things are the laws that you should be conversant with, or you should know, or you should be aware of as a digital forensic analyst or the digital forensic investigator. So now let us look at chain of custody. I've been mentioning chain of custody, and most of you have been wondering what actually chain of custody is all about. So chain of custody refers to the chronological documentation or handling of evidence from the moment it is collected until it is presented in the court, and it's essential for providing that evidence has not been altered, tampered with, or replaced. What it means that everything you do in the process of collection down to the process of presentations of your evidence is actually referred to as the chain of custody. It also tells you how to collect, how to preserve, and so on and so forth. So let us look at some key elements of chain of custody, which I've already told you which I've already said. One is identification. Identification of evidence with unique label. You must have a serial number. For example, if this is my evidence right now, if this flight driver I'm with right now is my evidence, that means I need to label it. I can label it based on the case number or based on the case name or whatever I will use to be able to recognize it. And I should also document every person who have handled this evidence. Did I collect it directly as I collected it? Did I give it to someone else? What is the process that I involved in it? So you must document every processes. And how is this data secure stored? Is it using temporary evidence bag? Am I using lockers? Am I using seal? Or how am I collecting this evidence? How am I storing this evidence I collected so that it will not be altered, or so that the information in it cannot be altered? And so these are also key elements that we should understand in chain of custody. And also logs detaining when, how, and by whom evidence was accessed or transferred. We must actually document all these things. Who actually handled it, when was it handled, when was it collected, who has handled it, and so on and so forth. So if possible, we can image the evidence, especially when it comes to physical drive. We can image it and also get a digital, and also get the digital hashing of it, and also get the digital hashing of it to be able to ensure the integrity of the file. So the best practice is always, things that we should do always, is that always use forensic tools that preserve original state data. So that's one of the best practices we should imbibe, or we should know. And also maintain records and log. As I said before, you must maintain records and avoid accessing original media unless absolutely necessary. And if you want to do that, use a forensic imaging to image that tools. So without a valid chain of custody, digital evidence might be ruled inadmissible in the court. So if you don't follow a good chain of custody, your evidence will not be accepted in the court, or your evidence will become inadmissible. So that is what you should do, and that's what we should know. So now there are some, I've told you about the ethical consideration that our evidence must be based on trust. And so we must have integrity and discretion in our dealings. So let our yes be yes, and our no be no when we are carrying out, and we should avoid favoritisms when we are carrying out our investigations. So there are some core ethical principles that we should understand, and which I have already summarized briefly. We should know that confidentiality is important. We must protect the privacy of individuals and organizations, especially those who come to testify, especially those who help us to get or to acquire a specific information. We must protect their privacy. And also integrity is also great. We must ensure evidence are not altered or it's not falsified or mispresented, presented. And also must be objectivity. Objectivity is another core ethical principle. Objectivity means you must remain unbiased and neutral. That means you don't play a favoritism game. You don't favor any party, so you must maintain a neutral background, and you must also be competent in your work. You must be up to date in your skills and have the necessary knowledge and the technical know-how, and must be accountable so in all you do. So accountability is another ethical principle that we should know. You must be responsible for your actions, especially when handling data and handling what information. So some ethical pitfall that you must please run away from. Please, you must try as much as you can to run away from accessing data beyond the scope of investigation. Sometimes we are tempted to just know more than we were asked to do, and this can actually lead you into troubles that you did not plan for. And so you must access data beyond. You must not access data beyond the scope of investigation. And failing to disclose method used during analysis also is a pitfall. So you must disclose all your methodologies, all the tools used, and how you carry out your evidence in the local. So providing misleading testimony or conclusion, maybe due to favoritism or due to any other pressures that you are facing, you decide to provide a misleading testimony or conclusion. Or tampering with or deleting potential evidence is an unethical something you do as an analyst, and it can jeopardize the entire investigation and damage your public trust. So what actually makes a particular evidence admissible in a court? What makes something to make the court to accept your evidence as an analyst, or even make your organization to accept your evidence as an analyst? One is authenticity. So how authentic is your evidence? Is it relevant to the scope, to the case at hand? Is it actually from a reliable source? And what is the integrity of that particular evidence? Remember, in cybersecurity, the core principle of cybersecurity is confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So the question: how authentic is this? How relevant? How reliable? And also, what is the integrity of it? So let us look at the legal standard for admissibility. So your file must be authentic. It must have integrity, it must be reliable, and also have relevancy. So there are some supporting documents that you need to have when carrying out your investigation, and one of it is the chain of custody logs, which I've explained already, how you carry out your investigation from identification down to presentation. And so you also need a detailed forensic analysis report. These are part of the document you should carry along with yourself. And also, if there's any eyewitnesses, you must have an expert witness statement or testimony. And then metadata, timestamps, and logs are part of the things that you need to carry along with yourself. So there are some challenges that you face, especially when you are dealing with court or presenting your case in the court, or except if it's just organizational or individual basis for the work that you are doing. And so there are some challenges you'll be facing, and one of the challenges is improper authorization. If you don't have proper authorization to obtain, you did not obtain proper authorization before carrying out your evidence, it might make your evidence to be void or inadmissible, even if it is authentic, even if it is reliable. Because you don't have authorization, it might become void. Another one is standard operating procedures. Was it followed or was it not followed? And that's why the chain of custody is important, and also understanding the laws that governs a particular organizations, countries, regions is also important. Are you qualified? Do you have some licenses to carry it out? Do you have permissions? Are you a qualified professional to carry out the job? Technical knowledge is not enough. but you must also be licensed or be satisfied for your case to be actually be acceptable either in the court. So there are some compliance framework. We should look at. There are some compliance framework we should look at. What do we mean by compliance framework? Involving data regulations by different company, different organizations. So there are some framework. Each organization has their own framework. Country has their own framework. Industry has their own framework. Just as I say, you must be familiar with each and every one of it. So you must understand the law, and is required law processing for personal data, mandate how to minimize or limit your data, and also what will be the penalty if you violate the laws, and also the result and what it will cost you if actually there's any challenge along the way. So you must familiarize yourself with the framework and also different things. So the first framework we have is the GDPR, which is the General Data Protection Regulation by the European Union. So you must familiarize yourself with it. Another one is Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act for USA, and also it helps to access and use of data protection for health information and so on, or even payment card industry data security standards. So these are actually framework we should look at, or you should be familiar with, or you should should know as a forensic analyst. So let us look at some digital forensic tools and environment that we need. So having got a basic foundations of forensic digital forensic, let us look at some tools that we can use if we actually want to carry out forensic investigation. And so a solid understanding of the tools and the environment used in digital forensic is essential for accuracy, for efficiency, and also for lawful investigations. And so that's what we'll be looking at: how to set up your forensic lab, and what you need in order to set up a forensic lab, even if you are a beginner and you have no knowledge about digital forensic. Setting up a digital forensic lab, it is important that you use a controlled environment equipped with hardware, software, and infrastructure necessary to conduct the forensic investigation. So you must have a hardware, a good software, and also infrastructure or an environment convenient enough to be able to carry out your forensic investigations. And there are some key components of the forensic lab that we need to know, and that is what I want to show you right now. So please stay tuned as we continue. So one of it is a secure workspace. Yeah, you need a secure workspace, physical place, and that actually has some security measures like a clean environment. If you are much, you can put a CCTV, or there can actually restrict much movement, and also have digital security like network segmentations and firewall. You also need a workstation. Workstation here simply means high performing computer dedicated to analysis and image tasking. That means you need a dedicated laptop, you need a dedicated system computer to actually carry out your forensic investigation. So you should not carry out forensic investigation with maybe your general purpose or multi-purpose a laptop, or a low processing laptop. So you need also a write blocker. It's a device that prevents any write operation to the original media. So it prevents any other thing to enter the original media, and it is very important. So you need a write blocker. Also you need storage devices like maybe external hardware. We need radar or offsite backup, or even online backup of the original document. So there are some networking tools you need in order to capture live network packets for folder analysis. And you need documentation station, like things you can use to write, like printer, like label marker or pen or pencil. All those things are documentation thing that you need. So we also have operational policy to include, like evidence handling procedure, which I've already explained. So let us look at forensic hardware and software. When you talk about hardware and software, I'm talking about the tools right now. So if you are looking for forensic hardware that you need, one is the write blocker. You will need the write blocker. You need disk duplicators. So write blocker prevent modification of evidence media. So let's see, for those who might not know write blocker, let's look at write blocker. So write blocker, you can check it out here. Write blocker. So this is how the write blocker is. So this is actually how the write blocker is. Let me show you. You can see it here. You can actually see it here. Let me increase the open it. So look at it here. So you can look at it here. So there are different sizes. There are different sizes and also different products. So you can check it out and buy any one of your choice. So you can buy any one of your choice. Look at it here. So let's look at it. So you can check it out on your own and then look for the price. So each regions have their own different price. So look for a reputable one and can buy that for yourself and use. So we also have this duplicator. So this duplicator like logic cube, can check it out. This duplicator like logic cube. So like logic cube. So this is this duplicator. It will duplicate the disk for you. So you can look at it here. So it's something you can actually acquire one for yourself and use. You have table and also you like logic cube. So choose any one of your choice. So this table, and so choose any one of your choice that will work better for you. So you need forensic workstation. You need mobile device analyzer like Cellebrity or Magnet Axon for mobile forensic, and you need storage media like external drive or even NASA for securing your data. So there are some forensic software that you also need as well. You need imaging tools like FTK Imager, DD, Gaimaga. You need analytical tools, especially file analysis like Auptosy, NCase, S-Way Forensic, and you need some forensic tools like different operating systems like Windows or Kali Linux or Kane or Deft. All these things are actually what you need to carry out your forensic analysis. So there's something called live and dead forensic. Now what I mean by live and dead forensic is conducting a forensic can be either live or dead. Live. So we have live and dead forensic, and what I mean by live and dead forensic is when one is actually Is the nature of actually the case, depend on the nature of the case and availability of the system. When we talk about live forensics, we are talking about analyzing a running system to capture volatile data such as RAM or active network connections or running processes or encryption keys. This is actually what we mean by live forensic. System that is still running, you capture it, and most of these actually working maybe in network forensic or even computer forensic, and especially to investigate insider threat or to analyze malware when you are carrying out a dynamic malware investigation, and also to decrypt protected data before shutting down. The challenges is that it's a volatile data and there is potential risk of evidence being altered, and this must be done with extreme care to avoid contamination. While dead forensic is when a forensic is being conducted when the device is power off and involve acquiring that particular disk image or getting your hand in touch with the physical devices or drive. Example, maybe hard disk, flash drive, and so on and so forth. And it's mostly a postmodern analysis of seized devices or legal investigation for requiring a strict chain of custody. Though it have a low risk in altering evidences, and it's easy to document and also to replicate. So live and dead forensic actually depend on what you are doing, on what you want to do. So as I've already told you, there are some tools that we need. Imaging tools, we use FTK, Mega, Auptosy, or DTK. So these are some common imaging tools that I can use, and this is how to use it. Can use it both in Windows operating system, in Kali, and so on and so forth. So our focus for today is actually computer forensic. So how to carry out computer forensic, that is our major focus. The practical we want to conduct today, how to carry out computer forensic is in Windows operating system. And so we want to look at maybe how to deal with file system and metadata, window forensic like registry, prefetch, event logs, and recovering of deleted files and timeline, and so on and so forth. So that is actually what we want to do today. And we have a challenge here. Sorry, we are doing window today. We have a challenge here, and in this challenge, let's look at the challenge, what it's all about. Forensic challenge. We have a challenge, our first challenge, which will be on Windows operating system. So let's look at the challenge here. So the challenge we have here is that, let's read it together. So cyber forensic incident challenge, the suspicious employee. So let's look at the background of it. So the background of the story is that an organization called Technova Solution Limited is actually not a company per se. So recently terminated an employee called David Okoro from a financial department for suspicious behavior. And before leaving, David had access to sensitive data, financial records, confidential project files, and so many other things, because he's actually an employee. So definitely when someone is being employed, they're giving all the gadgets necessary to aid him or her the work. And so shortly after his dismissal, the company noticed signs of unauthorized financial transactions and possible data leakage, and so they seized David workstation like Windows 10, and also their hard disk, the hard drive, and also the flash drive and every other thing within its within its within its reach. So, and the incident detail for you as a student or for us now is that the seized hard drive or the flash drive contain deleted financial records. So he has deleted some of the financial records, and he put some hidden files or malicious executable, or and then the drive has protected and preserved as evidence. And so your task as a forensic analyst is to investigate the disk and recover possible evidences. And so one of your tasks here is that we should image the disk, is we should conduct a disk imaging, create a forensic image of the seized hard drive or flash drive using the tools of your choice. You can use FTK Imager, you can use DD or Gaimaga to verify the integrity of the image by calculating the hash before and after imaging. So another one is to disk recovery, to do disk recovery and file carving. Examine the forensic image of the to be identified, then identify the deleted and the hidden files. You can use any of your tools of your choice like Auptosy, Formos, Scalpel, or test disk to restore deleted financial spreadsheet and also hidden potential executable. Also conduct financial analysis and inspect removable files or for suspicious content where any file intentionally being renamed, or if there's anything that is gone. So that is actually your work. And so after that you give your report, what were your findings, what file were deleted or hidden, were there any attempt at financial fraud or data theft. So we can provide your screenshot of recording steps, hash verification and analysis, and so you can then write a short report. So this is actually our goal for today, or what we want to achieve, and this will be conducted using forensic Windows operating system as our, and we are using Windows 10, and we'll be making use of some external drive. I'm using flash drive as a sample. So now the first thing they ask us to do, let's go through it one after the other, so that we'll be doing it one after the other. The first thing they say is disk imaging. So we must use disk imaging. So you can use any tools of your choice. You can use FTK Imager, DD or Gaimaga. So for how do you actually get these tools? You can get it from online. So if I want to use FTK, I can search for FTK Imager. So FTK Imager, you can look at it. It's an estero. So you can check it out. Click on the first one. So when you click on it, you see it will take you to where you can download. So you see download here. Click on download here and click download product. So it asks you to fill in your information here. So when you fill in your information and submit, let's submit. So you can see it here, say download. So you can download it. However, I will not download it again. I already have it in my system. So please go ahead and download it. And then follow suit. So the first thing we want to do is disk imaging. So we want to image the disk, assuming that this is actually the disk that have been seized. But before we do that, before we image this, I want to create some files inside this flash drive and delete it, and also create some hidden files inside this and also delete it, so that we'll be able to see how we'll be able to recover hidden files or also deleted files. So this is the flash drive here, so I'm going to put it in my system. So I'm going to put it in the system. Let me see. Let's see if the system have accepted it. Does not find it. So the system have found it. So here is a file here. So here is it. So I'm going to delete some file. So I'm going to delete some file from here. And I also create a Trojan. And here is the Trojan. So here is the Trojan. I'm going to copy this Trojan from this system and send it to the flash drive. But please, if you want to do this, please pay attention. Don't do it with your main system. Please take note. Okay, I forgot to tell you this. Make sure you do this in a virtual machine. And if you don't know how to set up your virtual machine, please go back to my video of how to set up a virtual machine or a virtual workstation using a virtual using VirtualBox, Kali Linux, and your Windows operating system. So, but just for easy this thing, I want to show you here. So this is the flash drive here. I've done what I want to do. I'm going to eject it now. So eject it. So, but if you want to set up this thing, I can host it here. I can do that on my VirtualBox, but for today we are not using our virtual system to do that. But on your own, please make sure you do this in your virtual system or in your virtual machine, not your main system. I have a dedicated workstation for it. So I have a dedicated workstation for this. That's why I'm using my workstation. If you have a dedicated workstation for it, you don't need a virtual system. But if you don't have a dedicated workstation, it is advisable you use a virtual machine like VMware or VirtualBox.